trailer.
Do we need to watch our mouths?
Oh, you don't have to watch your mouths. You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. We are not censored on this show.
Nope.
Yet.
Fucking
Nope.
awesome.
FCC.
Fucking love to swear.
All right.
That light looks really good on you.
On who? Who are you talking to? Oh, I see.
Okay. The link has been shared. Now we can kick this party up. Whatever the damn kids say these days, I don't know.
Yeah.
Crank it up, fuckers.
Yeah.
To all 7 viewers out there, hello. Welcome. This is international, right? This is,
Yeah.
Yeah, what happens usually is people kind of come and go. It fluctuates, but it records this, then people can watch it later.
That's awesome.
And that's usually, it'll get up to probably, they usually go, Brian, what, like 1,000, 2,000 views or something like that?
Well,
that's amazing.
It depends on how much clothes I have on at any given time.
All right, we are starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Good evening, everybody. I just realized my microphone was on the entire time as I was counting down, but fuck my life. Hey, welcome to the show, guys. We're here live on THS Lives. We have a great show for you tonight. Tonight we are talking about Lunch Ladies, a short movie that has been winning a lot of awards. I believe it won several awards, one of them including Dragon Con, which is a pretty huge event for those in the con world. But we're here tonight to talk with those guests who brought Lunch Ladies to life. So, but before we get into that, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook and as Brian Enright, or on Instagram and Twitter at The Horror Jew. Up next, we have Jared Letourneau. Jared, good evening.
Good evening, Brian, and all the boils and ghouls out there. You guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau, or you can follow me on the Twatverse at zombie_survivor. Back to you.
All right, Jared. One more time. I do apologize for the inconvenience, but hey, that's how the show works. Jared, introduce yourself again.
You ready for me again?
I am ready for you. The world is ready for you. Go ahead.
Book at Jared Letourneau, or on the Twatverse at zombie_survivor.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. You know, things like this happen all the time when we're live, but hey, it's fixed and we're going to continue moving on. Up next, we have director of I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, which has been kicking ass lately. A nice little movie about Santa Claus and you know, the mischievous things that happen during Christmas time. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Lombardo. Mike, good evening.
Mike, introduce yourself.
What?
I'm Lex Quinn.
Yes, I wrote and directed I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday.
Great to be here with you, Mike. Very, very exciting.
Yes.
You can follow Mike Lombardo and his exploits at www.realsplatter.com. That's real like a reel of film, and splatter like a, yeah. You can also find me at facebook.com/realsplatter, hard copy, and Pornhub. Back to you, Brian.
Pornhub, nice.
Oh, thank God.
He's also the director of my dreams.
All right, and of course we have our special guests of this evening. Let's introduce them. We have the writer and producer of Lunch Ladies, and also a friend from AMDA, New York, represent. We have Clarissa Jacobson. Clarissa, good evening.
Hi, y'all. Hi, everybody. Yeah, Lunch Ladies. If you want to know about Lunch Ladies, lunchladiesmovie.com, our website, and I've got every flippin' social media you can imagine, so you can find it there.
All right, thank you very much, Clarissa. And of course, we have the executive producer and the guy in charge of the effects on Lunch Ladies. Here he is. We have Matt Folletta. Matt, good evening.
Good evening to you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
It's great. It's great to have you too, Matt.
It's gonna get weird.
That's the way we like it.
Good. All right.
All right, so So we have lunch ladies. How did that all start?
Yeah.
Well, that started because about maybe 6 years ago, I was hanging out with Donna, who plays the lead in it. And we were in a play 20 years ago when I thought I was an actress. And anyway, we were hanging out and she said to me, Clarissa, you know, I go to these auditions and there's always this other woman and, you know, we like each other, but it's super competitive because there's no roles for women my age and always one or the other gets it. I just wish somebody would write a movie about lunch ladies. And I was like, fuck. And she was in Sweeney Todd at the time, and Sweeney Todd's my all-time favorite musical. So I was like, why don't I make it like Lunch Ladies, like a spoof on Sweeney Todd? And then there's been a lot of spoofs on Sweeney Todd, so I was like, why not just wink at it and have the Lunch Ladies be in love with Johnny Depp? And they get the idea from Johnny Depp. So yeah, now that I think about it, it's a really, really bizarre, I don't know where it came from in terms of like, but yeah, that's how it started. And then I brought it to my, you know, my writing class, Twin Bridges, and my writing teacher was like, it's either going to be like the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. And so,
That's usually how it goes.
yeah, because it's weird. And the feature I wrote first, and that was super hard. It took like 18 months to write. It just was so hard. And then people would read it, they'd think it was funny, and they'd be like, is there a market for this? And that's when I was like, I'm going to make a short of it. So I found the director, put it all together, and it's just been this freaking awesome, magical, awesome thing that I've been able to experience and meet so many cool people. So yeah, that's where it all started.
That's right. And you met Matt Falletta, who was incredible as Jack Frost too.
I gotta tell you the story about Matt Falletta because Matt is a big reason why. Okay, so Matt, I met at a bar 4 years ago. Okay, and I hadn't talked to him in a long time, and it's a long story about like, my first director quit. But like, I couldn't find a director. I was like, I didn't know any directors. I personally never wanted to direct. I just wanted to write. Right? I got on LinkedIn and I haven't talked to Matt. Up to that one time I hung out at the bar. And Matt recommends this guy. He says he's brilliant. And then this other guy recommends the same guy. They don't know each other. And it ends up being Josh. So Matt's like really the reason that I found Josh, the director, to do Lunch Ladies. And if I hadn't met Matt at a bar 4 years ago, then, you know, who knows what Lunch Ladies would have been.
Good point.
Shit. So
Matt, you were at a bar and you jumped on. You were like, this is the greatest idea ever. It was like an episode of Drunk History. And you were just like, let's do this.
It was
that was 4 years before.
Yeah, 4 years before Lunch Ladies was, I don't even know, it was probably before Lunch Ladies, was it before Lunch Ladies was even considered?
No, I even gave you the feature. You never read it. Like, we had talked about it, and you never, you were just like, whatever, you know? And then I didn't talk to you for like 4 years, and then I was like, oh yeah, I remember that guy does blood. Does
does
think
blood.
I think I probably hit on Clarissa. I know I was kind of like off my tits at the time. And it was like, you like horror movies? I like horror movies too. We should do a movie. And and lo and behold, it was probably a couple days into the Lunch Ladies pre-production for the short that I believe it was Clarissa said, do I know you from somewhere?
No.
Yeah, it's like I had no memory of this whatsoever.
were you wearing the hat at the time? That might have been the.
Yes, he was wearing the freaking hat. Of course he's wearing the freaking hat.
I would assume you were wearing the Jack Frost helmet.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's at the HSPCA or whatever now. It's the Jack Frost head is on tour right now.
Oh, thank God.
We could not have done this movie without Matt. Like, this effects, man, and like all the stuff. Oh, yeah.
It was a shoo-in. It was like, this is great. Let's like, no questions asked. Let's do this. It was fresh. It's fun. It's it doesn't take itself super seriously, and I think that's the charm for me. And that was definitely like why I was like, good. This is finally, fuck art. Let's dance, man. Let's fucking have some fun. It was just a ball. And even though the production itself was incredibly strenuous, especially on Clarissa. Overall, it was a very, very positive experience. So, even though it was born, at a bar late at night, by the dumpsters or something, like most relationships start.
Yes.
meet people at a bar. You can meet really good people at a bar.
Most babies are made.
Yeah.
When a man loves a woman very much behind a bar, they either have a baby or make a movie. You know, that's still rope.
The beauty of Lunch Ladies, though, is that it works and it reads very well. It's like, you see a lot of reviewing a lot of short horror movies and reviewing a lot of horror movies in general. You get the same thing over and over again, where it's like, oh, okay, they went there. We kind of predicted that. Okay, but they made a movie. Let's talk about it. But I watched Lunch Ladies today, and the first 5 minutes, I was just like, this is going to be a feature fucking film. Like the first 5 minutes I watched it because it was so funny. It's like, what are these ladies laughing about? What's going on? Like, they didn't have to say anything to begin. Then they're reading the letter and everything. And it's funny. And then of course, it just like, then you get to the cafeteria scene, and you got the fucking the ball from Romeo and Juliet soundtrack playing in the background, and you have.
I love it.
You recognize that, Brian?
It's a fucking AMDA thing. I had to dance to it in AMDA. Like it was like, okay, yeah. Of course, I have fucking nightmares about that song. It's just like, hey, remember, you got to do this dance, lift your arm up on this count. Fuck you, Brian. Go home. You can't afford to go to AMDA. So I was like, okay, this is great. And like the whole cafeteria scene was like everyone like dancing, and they're like the lunch ladies throwing slop on their trays, and the kids are like, this is disgusting, but I'm gonna fucking eat it. And it just read like campy B movie cheese. And the character like development and the relationship worked so fucking well. And it like, I wish there was more. Like, I was hungry for more Lunch Ladies.
Hungry.
That's
why I want somebody to go that's the idea. I want like somebody to be like, here's your freaking $2.5 million to make your movie because we
still more than that. We get more than that.
Well, I think that's what we looked at a budget for or something like that. But
yeah.
What do I know about budgets? I just
Well, Mr. Lombardo, he saw the movie. He absolutely fell in love with it. And like the first thing he did was he messaged all of us. He's just like, holy shit, you guys got to see Lunch Ladies. I got to bring these people on the show. Like, Lunch Ladies is really amazing. We got to get these people on the show. We got to talk Lunch Ladies. So I'm like, what the hell, Mike? What are you talking about? Talking about Lunch Ladies on the show? What is your deal? And he's like, no, it's a short horror movie. It's called Lunch Ladies.
I wrote my first ever review for the Horror Syndicate of Lunch Ladies.
I'm so flattered. And I love your movie. And you were like, we had just started. Nightmares was our first horror fest, and I didn't know like how people were gonna take it. So like, you were like one of the first people that came to me and was like, oh my god, I love it. And I was like,
you were sitting in front of me at the screening. You and Josh were like right in front of us, and I was like, "You made Lunch Ladies?" Like, yeah, and I think I said it's like Tim Burton fuck John Waters.
That's an actual good comparison.
It's a very good comparison.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the comparison at all.
I was legitimately, and I think the entire Doomsday crew. I personally, I think them too, but I was literally in tears laughing the whole time. And I usually do horror comedy, so Doomsday is dramatic. But if I would have had a horror comedy short in the fest and then saw that, I just would have fucking walked. I'm like, I'm done. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do? How am I gonna follow this up? I felt bad for the rest of that block because like, you guys are toast. Like, there's no.
Well, it definitely came out of left field. It really because it's such a different tone than everything. It's just. These are just nuts, whereas Lunch Ladies is just this light and bright, almost celebration that has elements of horror in it, but in and of itself, it's not a horror film.
He says that, but I disagree. I think it is.
Scary, but if you know horror, you're gonna love this movie because it feeds all those things.
I want to ask Mike his opinion on that.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. So Matt, can you turn your microphone up? Is that a possibility in your settings?
No. Yes, maybe. I don't know. It was difficult enough to get this thing going.
It's okay. Sorry, what am I being asked now?
Well, because I have an argument with Matt about this because he's always like, it's not a horror film. And I'm like, well, it's not a comedy either. So it is a horror film because the horror community freaking gets it. And they're the ones who like go, yeah, when the grinder comes on.
Yeah. Okay, so as a horror comedy filmmaker myself, who constantly straddles the genre of either side, because the old real splatter movies don't really have a genre either. They're not really horror. I just tell people they're really weird comedies. I think Lunch Ladies falls perfectly into that kind of valley, which is exactly why I love it so much, because it's horrific subject matter, but it's not being told in a frightening way. Like, it's definitely much more comedic.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly disgusting and violent. So it's kind of that great tradition of like The Kids in the Hall and Monty Python and those types of things where it's just wildly inappropriate humor. But I think the horror community, they appreciate that kind of stuff because we're not prudes. So I think if you showed it to like a normal comedy audience, they'd probably feel really uncomfortable because you're grinding up corpses and eating them and celebrating that fact.
That's so true. The horror community is just like,
yeah, we're a bunch of fucking
not easily offended. They're just, they don't take themselves seriously. It's awesome.
But God forbid we see the movie The Witch, and then all of a sudden we're like, this movie sucks.
I didn't like The Witch. I know that's not popular, but
oh no, not liking The Witch is extremely popular.
It is?
Yeah.
I just thought it was like a poor man's crucible. I'm going, I don't get this. But, I'm glad it's getting a lot of love. It's helping the horror community, but I just was like, meh.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think it's a really well-made movie. It just wasn't particularly my thing because I love The Crucible because it has a lot of subtext. Like,
well, Mike, you like a lot of movies with shaving scenes. So, of course you didn't like The Witch.
Yeah, there was no shaving in that. There was a lot of talk about a cup. That was probably my favorite part, was when they talked about a cup. No, if they would have, not to get too off topic, but if they would have trimmed the last like 45 seconds out of that movie when she walks through the tree line, I'm not gonna spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it. But if they would have cut that end off, just like the movie Frailty, if they would have trimmed the last minute, I think I would have liked it a lot. But when you make something too literal, when you answer the question that's happening in the entire movie in the last like 5 seconds, it's like, don't do that. Let me wonder. Because then I forget about the movie.
I agree.
But it wasn't bad, Robert Eggers, I believe, is the director. Like, that man's obviously incredibly talented, and he'll probably have a much more renowned career than I ever will. But it just wasn't my particular thing. But I love The Crucible. I really like that story.
I think that's
the McCarthyism is like subtext. I'm not interested in witches otherwise, but I love that allegory. I thought was really interesting.
It was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Pretty to watch.
Back to Lunch Lady.
Yeah, I was
Thanks for bringing that around, man.
I wanted to piggyback what Mike was saying, though. I think you guys meshed the comedy with the subtle horror elements very well.
Horror-medy, according to Lonnie Reimer. There you go. There's your genre.
A horror-medy?
Yep.
I like it.
Let's read some Facebook comments real quick, and we'll get back to you, Jared. Joe Ridgely, looking forward to that. Okay. Thank you very much, Joe Ridgely. Nita Atkinson, hello. Everyone knows Nita Atkinson. Thank you, Nita. Hello. Mike Lombardo, hey gang, welcome. Oh, here you are, Mike. Jeff Frooms, hey guys.
Hey.
Brian Oliver says, strip Matt.
Matt? Yeah, Matt. Come on.
He wants you to strip. You don't have to. You're wearing a cowboy hat.
I told you it was
like
boing, 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 boing.
It's kind of inappropriate to strip with a cowboy hat on, or is it? I don't know.
Lex is trying to stop me. She thought I was reaching for my shirt, so she stopped me.
You're gonna simultaneously strip with Matt Folletta at the same time.
You weren't at Crimson Screen. This is exactly how I met Matt.
Stripping.
I'm gonna put him up too, or something. I think the story, because he was very drunk. The story that I got was that you dared him to come up to me, but what I heard was, you have a Street Trash shirt? I want to fuck you now. And I was like, hi, I'm Mike. Pleasure to meet you. And then we became the best of friends.
Yeah, it was a perfect way to meet, I think.
But Jared, you were saying.
Yeah.
Back to me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was just I was really very impressed about the meshing of the horror elements with the comedy. And to wax your ego a little bit, Matt, the special effects during the kitchen scene was fucking awesome.
Thank you very
that was
much.
a lot of CGI. That wasn't him. That was the other guy.
Right. It's all,
Oh,
it's
that was the
all
other guy?
post-production. It's all digital. No.
Yeah, they
Yeah, we
hired
did
the
a
visual
giant-
effects
we
team
did
from
a
Jack
giant-
Frost.
Brian did. That's my leg. That's like my cast of my leg because the model didn't show up to do it. So
That was your leg?
yeah. So every
Yeah.
time I see the movie, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not,
what
this is like your ear on the poster, correct?
It's a Matt's ears in the poster, but
Oh, it's Matt's ears. Okay.
Yeah.
my leg's the one in the grinder.
Speaking of dismembered body parts, without giving too much of the movie away, there was a scene in the movie where there was a certain someone's head on the table, and then the head gets turned around. How did that movie magic happen? Because I know that the actor's head was there, and go ahead.
That was pretty impressive.
Well, the idea behind it was we wanted to kind of give the illusion of the head through the table. Like, oh, it's just her with the head through the table. And then you pan across, you pan up, and Josh had the lead actress, Donna, grab it and then just twist it as if it was almost, I don't even know. I should ask Josh. If it
Stuck
was
to the
even
table?
an homage to, what was it? No, I can't remember.
Like Reanimator, maybe?
Rips the head off. It was a classic. It was Stephen King and Tom Savini and I Want My Cake.
Creepshow.
Creepshow.
There's a Creepshow thing where it's this really violent kind of like, well, there's no way this is what. And then when she picks it straight up, it just you kind of think about it like, what just happened? Like, it didn't look right. Something looked weird about it. And then, a giant flock of doves just flew away. I guess that's an omen. It was really weird. Sorry. And then she carries it over and she shoves it in the pot. It's a rubber head. There's nothing really that magical about it, but I really loved the way that Josh filmed it. Like, because if you've seen one rubber, fake heads are everywhere. They're everywhere. So he actually made it interesting, which I thought. It wasn't laying down on the side. It was propped up as if her head was through the table. And then it was like oh shit, that's not, oh, okay. So that just happened. And I love watching that because it's just a beautiful tracking, or I don't know. Yeah, it's sort of a track shot where you track her back. And she does the selfie because she does the selfie with her head.
Yeah.
So the head has to be looking, like a head.
I think the term, Matt, is showboating with effects.
Showboating.
I think that's what it was, because everyone, including myself, thought that was the head to the table gag, and I did too. I love the old classic gags, but then I'm like, holy fuck, that's photorealistic, and I'm like, wow.
It's easy to make a photorealistic head. It's easy to make a silicone head, a latex rubber head, a polyfoam head, you name it. There are 20 different ways to do it. But how it's shot, how it's utilized is what's important to any good filmmaker who's telling a story.
And I also shout out Chris Eckstein because he was an amazing cinematographer.
Yes, he did a great job. That thing was lit to the teeth. It was awesome. But thank you. I appreciate that very much. The other guy is doing digital effects. Roger Knoll was the guy who did the digital stuff that is beautiful. Like, we were really lucky to get him, and we're old friends with him. So Josh brought him into the production, and all their visuals were spot on. I was really happy because I didn't know what was going to happen. Being on set, reading the script, but what's going on in Josh's head and what's going on in Clarissa's head, there were little bits and pieces I didn't know they were going to do. Like the clocks flying across the screen. It's like, it always makes me laugh.
I thought that was a great addition.
All of that stuff just cracks me up. And as far as blood and guts, it was just a big nightmare because we had to clean all of it up.
Oh my God, it was so horrible cleaning it up.
All of us were on our hands and knees with shop vacs, and it was, we really went through a lot.
I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, there's so much blood, and the kids are going to be back at school in 2 hours. And Matt's like, I got my shop vac, no big deal.
Did you imagine all this blood when you were writing the screenplay?
Yeah, but you know what's weird about it? Like when you see it,
more blood.
Like when I imagine tons and tons of blood, but when you actually see it, you're like, holy shit, that's really sick.
That's a fuck ton of blood.
Yeah, on the day we filmed it, I thought, you know, I didn't get as much blood as I wanted going out of the machine, and I didn't, you know, the spray was off, and Josh said, it's perfect.
How much blood did you bring in? It was like
I brought in probably, I want to say 20 or 30 gallons.
Yeah, that's right.
Easily. And we went through most of it.
Yep.
See, what I liked about that scene with the grinder is I like that you guys didn't do like the really, really ridiculous blood spray, because
that was the plan, though, was to do.
Well, see, I mean, it was a happy accident, and that's what Josh said. It's perfect. He's right.
Yep. He's like, it's perfect, and I'm like, great, okay, I trust you. I will wait to see the final cut, and he was absolutely right in all of his choices, I believe.
Yeah,
the body itself looked very. Sort of a haunted house is how he described it. It's like haunted house butcher shop. You know, I'm like, I could make it look real. I mean,
no, I didn't want that. That was the first thing I said to Josh when I met him. I want the blood and everything to look like Shaun of the Dead. That is like real enough that you're like, oh, but you know it's not real. I didn't want it to be saw. I don't want people to be like, oh my God, that looks so, because then it's just not fun.
It's not funny. It's not fun to watch real.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you did a pretty good job.
I think it's realistic enough that it juxtaposes really nicely against the comedy, and like it works. It was the right amount of blood. It was the right style of effects work. I think that it was the best of both worlds.
And I'm very fortunate. Josh Logan has a background in special makeup effects, and that's how we met. So he's very well versed in everything that's going on. He knows, and in you know, all the stuff we did on the Wishmaster films and all these other larger films, he cut his teeth on those. So he's a very giving director. He knows actors. He knows everything about production on levels that I certainly don't understand. Everything from music to editing. He just knows it all. And so to have a director that knows makeup and special effects that way was a godsend. And it was fantastic to really work for him for once and not, you know, with him. Like, you know, we used to do movies together and we were, you know, two people working on the same movie, but to work for him was a breath of fresh air for me because he's one of my best friends in the world and he's very good at what he does. And he took Clarissa's stuff and said, I can do that. And I think
that was the first director told me I'd never be able to get anybody to do effects. Yeah. And so I gave Josh a different script when I first met him. And he goes, what else do you have? And I go, I have this script, Lunch Ladies, but the other director told me nobody wants to see two female leads. And he also told me that I would never have anybody that could do the blood sequences in it. And he goes, blood sequences? That's the least of my worries. Let me see, you know?
Yeah, that's easy. It is the easy stuff. It is the easier stuff. It's part of telling a story, but in and of itself, makeup effects, it's what I do, it's what he does. So it was never really
for someone like me, it's incredibly daunting. And then trying to find somebody that does that, I'm like, how do you do this? What do you do? And how expensive? You know, I was just like, I was lucky that I found you guys.
And your leg is in it. So
yeah, my leg is in it. My leg is my legs.
That's how you get the finance. You show some leg.
Yeah, I kept
It's pretty gross though. When I see it, I'm like, oh, that's leg going in there.
Yeah, it's upstairs in the shop.
Well, listen, that leg was specifically trained from the master class of AMDA, New York.
Right.
The song that was played was Romeo and Juliet's the waltz ballroom scene, and that leg is trained by the best.
I just can't believe you know. I just can't believe you know that song. It's so crazy.
I know that song.
Impressive.
It is very impressive. It's Prokofiev, and I was like, I don't know who or how because Josh was like, I'm gonna so it's a long story about the thing. Joe Bratcher was the one who came up with the idea of doing this.
And the dance sequence as well.
Yeah, having 3 different dance things, and then he's like, okay, Josh, pick up the music, and Josh comes back with this Prokofiev, which is like the hardest thing in the world to choreographed to. But he's like, oh my God, I can't believe that he gave me this. But it worked so perfect. Like at first when I heard it, I thought it was too dark. I was like, oh, this song's too dark. Can't you have something? It was perfect.
It reminded me of like an early Lloyd Kaufman 80s Troma movie, like, you know, like Class of Nukem High, where like the kids are like in the cafeteria. There's people dancing in one corner, there's jocks in the other corner, there's someone throwing up in the back, you know, and you know.
Uncle Lloyd, yeah. Very
They're playing there tomorrow, Troma Detroit.
Yeah.
When they're locking down the oh, that's right. You're in Troma Dance Detroit. I played Troma Dance. I played both Troma Dances with the stall, and I couldn't make it to either of them. That was like my.
I want to go so bad, but they're hard to get to. The one in Detroit is really hard to get to, but it sounds so fun. It sounds so fun.
It's gotta be a blast. But the scene when he was slopping the food down and that during that musical sequence, like it reminded me of the 50s cartoons, like factory themed.
Yep.
Like it's just like, oh, but it's just
assembly line style.
Yeah, I just can't even. It was just the music. It almost reminded me like a mix of that and Night on Bald Mountain. It's just like the lunch ladies are in their personal hell.
I remember being on set for that, and well, I was on set constantly. It wasn't like we had days off, other than, you know, we shot for 4 days
over 2 weekends,
and it was all hands on deck. You're there for the duration. People like Clarissa being the first people to arrive and the last people to leave. You know, it was a huge thing. But I remember having no idea what was going on. I was like, I couldn't understand what Josh had in his head as far as like this music and the dancing, and then Joe Bratcher came in and choreographed this thing.
No, you don't understand. Here's what happened. Joe, okay, so like the way the script was written was just like dumping trays, but Joe was like, I have this idea, I want to do this. And I was like, okay, whatever you want to do. None of us knew what was going to happen. We did not freaking know if it was what Joe was going to show up with, what the dancers were going to show up with. We didn't know how Josh was going to integrate. And I was hiding out because I was so freaked out. We only had 2 hours to do it, and I was like, it might not work. I was so freaking out that it wasn't going to work.
I remember calming you down, actually. I remember like, Josh has this. It's all going to be fine.
I didn't even know if enough extras were going to show up. I had no idea.
We didn't know if the dancers were going to show up. That was. I remember that being a real concern. But it just kind of. Yeah, it's just kind of a miracle.
It is a miracle.
That was actually going to be my next question, how long it took you guys to film. So, I mean, that's like real renegade filming. You have a...
I love telling the story that it took 4 days to film. And we did it while Mass was going on next door. It was at a Catholic school that Clarissa found. And after calling over 100+ schools, right? Like you called,
I called so many schools. And Josh's friends told me to call these Catholic schools. Finally,
and Mass was happening next door to us while we were filming this, so I had to like smuggle in the bodies and blood and
bloody bits.
And we were like, in any moment, someone could have opened that door and see what we're doing. And be like, what is happening in our Catholic school?
You should have just gone into their sacrificial ritual chamber. They probably had all the stuff for you.
Yeah, they had.
But the dance sequence, we only had 4 hours to do.
Yeah.
We only had 4 hours for that because all those kids in it, a lot of them were underage. Like not underage, but they were 17 and 18, and then there's only a certain time, and it must 16, so you couldn't have them for more than 4 hours.
Right. Yeah, we ran into that on Doomsday.
Yeah.
Was that?
It totally followed every rule about having a child on set. Absolutely.
Well, were you shooting SAG, Mike? You were in shooting SAG, right? You just had
If we were shooting SAG, it would have been a very different story.
It would have been a very different. We probably would.
A 36-year-old man who was living in that.
Right. They had a cot off camera for the little one.
Yeah, well, he was sleeping most of the damn day anyway. We just let him run around, do his thing in between. Well, we didn't need him, and then half the movie's him sleeping, so he'd just fall asleep. And we just...
See, this is why Clarissa, you hired twins, 18-year-old twins.
Well, Daisy, who played the cheerleader, she had just turned 16, and they couldn't get her freaking work permit. We got her work permit that morning.
What? I didn't know that.
Yes, because there was a problem where she got in college at Santa Barbara, where she was doing like part-time at the college and part-time at high school. And so the high school didn't want to give her the work permit because they're like, oh, she's at the college, and the college didn't want to give her the work permit. And her mother was stressing out. And I said, listen, this is crap. She's in no matter what. You know, I was like, I'm just gonna go rogue on this because Daisy wants to do it. Your mom's doing. They've been back and forth with SAG trying to get the work permit. Finally, and it came through like the night before or that morning.
And she nailed it. She nailed it. Hands down, I love watching the movie. And I always watch her and think, wow, she'd never done anything before. A lot, like Clarissa had never made a movie before. Like, remember that. This is her first thing. She had never, am I embarrassing you? I see you shaking your head. Sorry.
But I've written a lot of movies.
But it's
never produced one, yeah.
And it was perfect. But she did such a wonderful job as her character, being this real cunty, like
bitchy.
No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna push it. Bitchy's not good enough. she just sort of oozed that and then I was told that she had never done anything in her life like that. And she's so sweet.
Classes.
She's super sweet. I liken her to Bill Moseley, of all people, which is a huge honor. Bill Moseley is such an amazing, wonderful, generous, nice
he's
person.
A very nice guy.
But when you call action, he becomes these other people. Generous, nice.
She had her mark. She was on time. She didn't complain. Like, she was.
That's gold.
And she made character choices that I thought were genius.
Yeah, she did.
And they apparently hadn't been necessarily scripted. When she's leaning up against the bathroom stall, and she runs her tongue inside of her cheek, and she says, "Uh-huh," and it's just like, oh my God, that's like a advanced acting choice that worked so well. Or maybe I just don't know young women because I'm old. Maybe that's something young girls do. Lex
Quinn does that in the public restrooms all the time.
Lex, let me see.
By that I mean berate middle-aged women, not
What?
young.
You're pooping too loud. Quote by Lex Quinn.
Me? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm probably. I'm outside.
We have a question from
some of that lime beer now. Sounds like you're having such a
Wi-Fi. I'm gonna deliver some to you. Okay.
We have a question from Lonnie Reimer in the chat. They said, any memorable bloopers or accidents while filming?
That's actually
bloopers or accidents.
And don't worry, this is not admissible in court, so let out all the dirt.
It was such a tight schedule.
We prepped for 6 months. I mean,
yeah,
we were so freaking prepared that we were just like, okay, this is how it's gonna. This is how it's gonna go. Are you talking about like bloopers in the film, like things that weren't like continuity or something like that, or just stuff?
Just things that happened that you guys had to cut out, probably.
I think like flubs, like funny stories, like you dropped all the potato slime and like it splashed on the camera or something.
There were some misfires with the potato goo cannon.
Yeah, that happened
twice, I believe. We did that take twice, so that's not really a blooper. It's like, all right, I gotta aim a little differently because there's no like sights on this cannon. You just kind of.
Was it like a blood cannon, compressed air?
It was a Pango gun.
Okay, yeah. Aiming those are kind of it's dicey sometimes.
I use them for everything. Most of us do.
I can tell you that it stunk really freaking bad. And I had to go out and buy Febreze and Febreze the whole hallway because I thought for sure the school was going to kick us out because it smelled so bad. Like no idea. I mean, it was. And Donna is a vegetarian, so she was just because Matt's food didn't smell, but the meat and those green beans, overdone green beans, were like. So rancid, you cannot. I mean, you could smell it. Oh, it's just horrible.
Was Donna gagging since she was a vegetarian?
Yeah, she didn't even have to like act that scene. She gets hit with the meat and everything. She's just like. We're probably pissing off all the vegetarians right now. But
well, let's talk about the your two lead because they are just. I legitimately don't think there's better casting that I've ever seen in a movie. They were so fucking perfect together. Did they know each other before this? because their chemistry was like spot on.
No, you know what? It was so magical because like I wrote it for Donna, so I knew that like I was like nobody's playing that role except for Donna. And then, but I said I want kind of like this like Laurel and Hardy thing. Like you got to find like the Luann's got to be more like sedate. And Josh was just like, I know this girl, this woman Mary, and she's really good at physical comedy. She was in this other movie of mine, and let's just bring her in and put them together. And they showed up, and they were freaking perfect. They were just perfect. So we didn't even have to audition them.
Can you just keep them in the feature film and not cast like Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig? Because like that's the vibe I got from it. I'm like, I don't want to see Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy like jump on this.
No, it'd be such a huge mistake because it's about underdogs, and you put them in, and all you see are Melissa McCarthy, and you need people that aren't known, that are more like that are great actor. I think it would be the hugest mistake in the world to replace them.
Yeah. No, oh my God, they make the movie like
their chemistry was top notch.
Yeah, I would be really sad if they tried to put in. I just don't think it's.
I think it would benefit also because they're underdogs to bring in heavy hitting actors like Sigourney Weaver or someone to play like I'm on the Department of Education.
Ever play the meat grinder?
It's like
their arch nemesis is a home ec teacher named Miss Crispin who runs a crockpot club, and she's just a real freaking bitch. And like Wallace could play her so well, or Barbara Crampton could play her, or Sigourney Weaver. That's where they can put this if those stars would want to do something like that. But I just see stars as the lunch lady.
It's like a turf war, the crockpot ladies.
Landcamp.
I've had my run into the home ec teacher in my high school that I could picture perfectly being. Actually, I'm sorry, they changed it to the cooking light and easy. It was a microwave cooking class I got put into, and this woman was just a monster.
This woman is so uptight. Yeah, they're and she's special, and the lunch ladies are just shit. And she's always like winning stuff, and she's super uptight, and yeah, that has to be their arch.
Yeah, this woman, I tried to get kicked out of her class because it was an elective that I didn't want, and she wouldn't let me drop it. She had to approve. So I had to just do shit to piss her off to the point where she would let me go.
What did you do?
We did. She was talking about cross-contamination in food. She went on this big rant about it, about how her family, they get like Dippin' Sticks from Domino's, whatever the hell it was, like 10 years ago. And there's like 6 sticks, but there's only 3 cups of different sauces. So they have to cut them up beforehand and divvy them out. So then I'm like, she's like, otherwise it's cross-contamination. I'm like, your family. Like, she's like, well, what do you do? I'm like, I dip in the fucking sauce. Like,
right. Your family has the same germs, right?
Yeah, she flipped out. She's like, the one day she was telling us that in every pound of like popcorn, there's like 2 cricket skulls, and they have all the allowances from the health department.
Thank God.
This big thing like terrifying everybody, and I just raised my hand and said, crickets have exoskeletons, and she was like, what? And I was like, they have exoskeletons. Like, bugs are a delicacy in every country but America. Like, they're a great source of protein. And honestly, if we were smart, we could cut the food shortage. One of this big thing, and she just was like, if looks could fucking kill. But the final straw for her was we had to do a unit on body image. And I was a rather portly fellow, not quite as svelte as I am now back then. But we had to do this thing. She's like, how do you... She's like, how do you see yourself, and like, what do you think about like unhealthy eating choices? So I wrote this big paper. I drew. We had to draw our picture of ourselves, so I drew a stick figure, and I wrote about how I need to gain weight, and then I hate fat people. We should put them all on an island because they're disgusting. And she didn't know what to do, so she finally just kicked me out of the class. It was glorious because my next step was to make a food pyramid Nazi armband. And that would have been my end game.
But Mike, you're terrible.
But I got voted before that, so I'd love to see this home ec teacher.
No, don't replace the lunch ladies. That would be horrible.
No, I agree. I like to get actresses that we all know, like Heather Langenkamp, horror actor Gina Davis. I mean, all these people that we all know to have, like, I'm not to say like stunt casting it, but I mean, people it's like, oh, there's Gina Davis. Oh, there's...
Well, yeah, you don't see them as a character. You see them as that person playing it.
Yeah, you kind of do.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you don't want to see Lunch Lady starring Danny Trejo.
Right.
No, exactly.
Lunch is served, motherfucker.
Danny can't afford Danny $10,000 a day. Like
he's only one scene in the movie, and it's him holding a machete and being like, lunchtime. I don't know, fucking whatever.
That'd be great. It'd be just Machete. Machete is he's a school-to-school knife salesman for lunch ladies.
Nice.
He'd be good to have like a side, you know. It'd be funny to see him somewhere, you know.
Well, Danny's I like Danny. I've worked with him a couple times, and he's very nice, but he's very expensive.
Sure.
I can see him being like
a cigarette.
I can see him being like the janitor or something.
Yeah.
Have him play a cigarette that the janitor smokes, like roll on the floor and be like, tobacco's bad.
Oh, right. That was a friend of yours, Clarissa, correct?
Yeah, that's my friend Rudy, which I'll tell you, Rudy's my writing class, and when I wrote the feature and I was writing Principal Grossphatic, his note was, Clarissa, I think you should make Principal Grossphatic so we never see him. His head's always cut off. That was Rudy's brilliant note, and I'm brilliant for taking it.
I thought that was kind of an interesting take because he's the embodiment of the school, but he's also kind of just part of the system, so you don't see him really.
Yeah, you never see his head. Cut his head off every single time. And that was Rudy's note 6 years ago. So I was like, that's an awesome weird thing. Okay.
So that reminded me a lot of have you ever seen Strangers with Candy, the Comedy Central show?
Yes.
When it kind of had that vibe to it, like that almost like John Waters TV series type of thing, like with all the sight gags. It's exactly I love it so much.
You're my best friend forever, Mike Lombardo.
I love
the fact that you mentioned Strangers with Candy. That is such a great show.
There's like a vending machine that vends meat, and it drops like a side of ribs, and there's this like gravy oozing out of the tray. It's just like super fucking disgusting. Like you see close-ups of people's mouths they're chewing, like just weird shit.
Yes.
Her father never moves. You always see him like frozen in place. Then he'll cut back, and he's in a different position. That's how when I saw the principal, it was that kind of like weird gag. Like we did it in Womb for Two. We did that kind of shit too. Like it's very sketch comedy, and I
love Womb for Two. Remember I saw it? You guys were like, "Oh my god, this is the funniest!" I loved it.
Well, the gentleman who played Grossfetting, whose name I don't remember.
Chris Bickley. He's my friend too. Yeah.
I just can't. I don't have a cheat sheet in front of me. He's so great because he shows up at these festivals, and when he's photographed, he has his head cut off. He only lets him.
Yeah, he got all his pictures with his head cut off.
With his head cut off, which is fucking brilliant, man. I mean, that's so cool that he does that. Like,
the best.
I think that's hilarious. And he's so good. His voice, like, I didn't realize he voiced it also. Because he was on set for a day or so, and we didn't talk a whole lot. But he was very nice.
He was sick that day too.
He was what?
Sick. He was so ill, and he's my friend. He's an amazing writer. He's my friend from class. I was in his movie doing his voiceover, and I said, "Listen, I was in yours, so now you got to be in mine because you're the only one who can play Principal."
That's how a producer works it.
I'm like, you're coming into my movie. And then he showed up, and he was so ill. He was like sweating. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sick." I'm like, "Just use it."
Oh wow. He's another one. He's another person, another actor, and another actor. I would say has to be in.
Oh yeah, I mean he's perfect. His voice, he's got this beautiful
beautiful voice. It sounds just like the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, he does.
I can't remember the actor's name. He played Otto in Beetlejuice. He passed away a couple years ago. But I'm like, did we get the guy from Nightmare Before Christmas? Josh is like, no, that's him. I'm like, oh my god, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't talk to him really, so.
Yeah, he was sick for an hour, couple hours, and then that was it.
He's a trooper.
Yep.
So let's talk about the film festivals. If my research is accurate, you guys have played like 2-3 festivals now.
Yeah, that's about it. And it was it was a Sunday evening at a local bingo hall.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was in the church basement, right?
So I like to try to get the lunch ladies in every single freaking fest. Not because I'm like, oh, I want to. I mean, I do want to get in a fest, but I want people to.
What a weirdo!
Well, it's definitely a crowd movie. I mean, you've played literally, I think, probably every country in the fucking world at this point, right?
Well, I'm trying to. I have a geography lesson on the website. It shows where we've been.
I love that.
There's a VFW here in Kansas you guys haven't hit yet.
Oh, freak! I'd love to go to the VFW. Are you kidding me? Like I love.
Where in Kansas? Wichita? What are we talking?
I'm in Topeka.
Oh,
Yeah,
Topeka?
I just think it's funny when the lunch ladies go to some weird place like the Ukraine. I'm like, yeah, that's so awesome. The lunch ladies in the Ukraine. So I just
Probably get away with murder.
You're playing in Bethlehem tonight, or just now. That's like an hour from my house.
Pennsylvania.
I didn't even know that. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I could have skipped this dumb show and gone to see Lunch Ladies again. Shit.
So cool. I wish I could have gone. If I had known, they've been so cool, and I'm like, I wish I could go. It's like I see all their pictures, and there's cookies and food, like all this delicious food, and I'm just.
I would have skipped this dumb show and drank another 6-pack of Bud Light Lime.
Oh.
What is wrong with you, Brian?
Wrong.
Bud Light Lime is gross.
Oh,
Bud Light Lime.
It started out really good, but hopefully that's not our sponsor. Is that our sponsor?
Bud Light Lime? No, our sponsor is Four Loko, but I haven't heard from him in a few months. I think he's dead.
We should get Amden to sponsor us.
Yo, Amden will sponsor Dick, okay? They can't even afford a school nurse.
I think Bartles and James should sponsor Lunch Ladies. I think
Bartles and James.
I do. I think like that.
We actually do have a small sponsorship with Miss Lovett's Meat Pies.
Do not.
Oh my God! How about Auntie Lee's Meat Pies?
Yeah,
we did that movie with Pat Morita back in the 90 something. I don't know. It was Auntie Lee's Meat Pies. Look it up. It's a real treat. Yeah.
Actually, our sponsor is Victor Miller. We're waiting for him to win the case so he can afford to pay us.
That's a whole nother story.
So I have a question for Matt now. If Lex Quinn is to be believed,
yes,
you played a zombie in the George Romero directed Resident Evil 2 commercial. This is very relevant right now because the Resident Evil 2 remake was just announced. You were a zombie in the commercial from 1998.
Yep.
Correct?
Absolutely. Josh Logan did that makeup.
What?
Really?
Yeah, it's true. True story.
We need to get Josh on the show sometime.
I know. Josh.
Clarissa said he thought he was too good for the show. Yeah, I think it's a project against me.
He's out of town, but
yeah, fuck it. Hollywood J. That's what they call him. I hear.
Hollywood J. Yeah. We have plans for Josh that are rather amusing to Clarissa and I, which I won't go.
They involve a meat grinder.
No, well, a little bit visually, yes, but not a real meat grinder. But yes, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. It'll be a totally different.
Are you going for a K?
What now?
Sorry, I was talking to my wife and dog.
So Matt, you are the co-owner of Soda Effects.
I am.
With a T, not a D.
With a T, correct.
Okay, so why don't you tell all our viewers out there who are not effects geeks what you guys have been responsible for?
Well, Soda Effects was founded by Roy Kinnearum and Jerry Macaluso back in the 1980s. I had worked for them for about a decade, from the late 90s to late 2000s. And then Roy and I partnered about 6 years ago and opened a new shop. But as far as our legacy goes, it's actually pretty well everything from Ed Wood to Gods and Monsters to the original Power Rangers series, all the Wishmaster sequels, all the Starship Troopers sequels.
What?
I've worked on Species movies. We've done a lot of Brian Usna movies. It's just kind of a hodgepodge of movies. I hope you didn't spend too much money watching. They're not great, but they're so much fun to work on.
If you look behind you, I bet every one of those movies is back here somewhere.
I will come to your house and sign each one.
I would absolutely love that. I have.
I was gonna say, if it was a Brian Usna film, I probably have it too.
Well, I just went to Brian Usna's house about 3 weeks ago with Josh, and it was great.
He's got it.
It was.
Oh my God!
He's got it.
I'm waiting for your ass to
put your head. Jack Frost too.
I've owned this for years. I've owned video as well.
I love that you have that. But did you have the one with the cover that actually like
the lenticular cover?
The lenticular one. Yeah.
My copy of the original VHS has the lenticular cover, but my DVD.
I'm so sad I don't have one. I'm looking for one of those actually. I really want one of those Jack Frost 2 VHS covers. That look at you with the bottles.
He's double fisting it now.
Oh my god.
Yes. I love that you have that.
He's making Clarissa want a Bud Light Lime.
The Jack Frost suit I made, and I made a bunch of the puppet snowballs and puppeteered all these things.
So what was the Jack Frost suit made out of? Was it foam or?
It's actually just mattress foam, and I use cellulose flocking and a bunch of little tips and tricks and blah blah blah. It was a terrible thing to be inside, but
I was about to ask you that next. It's probably like
hot.
I couldn't see, I couldn't breathe. There was no air. There was the stunt version that had a motorcycle helmet, so I couldn't see or breathe or hear. And then there was the mechanical face, which was still fiberglass because we finished it 2 or 3 days before we filmed. So I'm literally breathing polyester fiberglass fumes the whole time. And my head had to be all the way back because it was a hollow shell. So the head wouldn't fall forward. I had to lean my head all the way back and shoot everything looking up in the air. Yeah, it was
wow.
It was awful, but it was the most fun I'd had making a movie because everyone was like, "We're making a movie about a killer snowman." Take themselves seriously. Not even the producers. I know there's money on the line, but no one can take themselves seriously. So I'm hoping that Michael Cooney, who is the creator and director of that film, will go ahead and do Jackzilla, which was the next installment, which was the 50-foot tall Jack Frost that was alluded to at the end of the second movie, which I'm sure you know because I'm sure you watch it every year at Christmas as you should.
Absolutely. I have the Blu-ray of the first one.
It's the best Christmas movie since Die Hard. It's the best Christmas movie since Die Hard. I don't care about Christmas Story. It's Jack Frost 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, what's really great about the Jack Frost movies is that they're actually really, really clever. Like, they're really well done because it's a lot of nuts and bolts, like practical, jerry-rigged stuff. And, like, there's a lot of creativity with the editing and the shooting and stuff. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate just how much ingenuity kind of goes into the camera work and stuff to make that sort of stuff.
Much like Lunch Ladies, it was born, or at least our relationship was born out of a drunken night, and it was when Michael Cooney and Eileen Seeley were at a mountain cabin in like Big Bear, and they were drunk, and they all thought this snowman outside was going to come to life and kill them. That was how this thing came about. So, it all starts with a cocktail, just like Lunch Ladies. There's my
That says no amazing story has ever started with a salad.
Well, I can't tell you an appropriate story that starts with the salad, but there was
Brazzers.
Brazzers?
I was thinking for America's Most Wanted, but that was too. I'm sure Lex Quinn's got a story like that.
Oh, you were going clean down the salad chute, so to say.
So tell us a little bit about working with George Romero on that Resident Evil commercial. How did you get involved with that?
You're not going to want to like it. He was drinking at the time, heavily.
Like I said, how great story started.
I know, and I'm like, I cannot tell a lie. That's true. It was wonderful though because before he passed away, I did see him again, and I spoke to him, and he was clear as day. He was so clear. He remembered when and where we filmed that. Because I said, hi, I played one of the zombies in your thing. He's like, yeah, I remember you. I'm like, well, that was 20 years ago, so that's very nice of you to say. But I of course, you don't remember me. He's like, no, you're a cop. We filmed it at the Los Angeles County Jail on Tuesday night. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, am I in film right now? Because I felt like I was being punked. And he was so sweet. He signed my Fangoria magazine that I was on the cover of, and I showed it to my mom, and she's very proud of me now after 44 years.
So you got to meet George Romero and the late Brad Renfro doing that commercial.
Yes, exactly. But even more so, I can, I'm super proud that even though it was a small thing, it was a commercial. It was produced by a Japanese company at the time, and that's why they hired my boss, Screaming Mad George, to do all the zombie makeups. Because during that time, this is Savini's territory still at that time, and K&B had stepped into the zombie ring, so it was cool to do a George Romero anything, but not be Tom Savini. So we had to kind of recreate his traditional zombies, and so I not only worked on it, creating makeups, because we had a horde of zombies for it, but to say that I was directed as a zombie by George Romero is an incredibly, it's something I'm so incredibly grateful for, even though it's teeny weeny. I can't even find the. I don't even know if the commercial's on YouTube.
I've been playing it while you were talking about it. For those who are watching the Facebook Live show,
it is on YouTube.
There's a
it is on YouTube. There's actually it's actually a documentary. I don't know, Matt, if you were able to see it, the behind the scenes of the documentary. It's longer than the commercial. Actually, it's 8 minutes long.
Some of that. There's a wonderful website that did it, and Josh Logan himself can be seen in a photo running away from Japanese investors, holding 2 cups of polyfoam because they're about to go off and foam, and he's like a blur. And I showed it to him about 3 years ago. He's like, "Oh my God, I had long hair." I'm like, "Yeah," and you're running away from Japanese investors, like
so it doesn't blow up on them.
Yeah, so it doesn't exactly, and it's the funniest. Like out of if you didn't know, if you weren't there, it wouldn't be funny. But if I can find that picture, I'll have to you guys, because it cracked me up back when he was just a lab rat like me, making rubber monsters.
Oh,
hey Lex.
That 33-second commercial is better than the entire fucking Resident Evil movie franchise.
Thank you.
I'm being dead serious.
Thank you.
Those movies are terrible.
Even better than Resident Evil 7 or whatever. How many they did?
No. I'm talking about the movies, not the games.
No, yeah, I am too.
I'm going to keep going with the
movie. Believe me, Lex Quinn is certainly a judge of quality when it comes to 33-second increments.
So
I'm going to be dead by tonight. It's quite nice meeting you guys.
Mike Lombardo will be here for the rest of the night. Make sure you tip your waitresses.
Matt, you were actually a fly on the wall during the Resident Evil 2. Back when George Romero was in the talks, he wrote a script to make the Resident Evil movie.
Really?
You knew about this, right?
They're like, fuck that. We don't want anything to do with it if it's close to the games. And then they fucked over the whole series.
So apparently there's this story, and the only person who truly knows about it is George Cameron Romero, George Romero's son. And he has this thing where he doesn't want to talk about it because he might get in trouble for talking about it because of all the money that's been put in and like hearsay, and a lot of legal things are in line. So my mission is to do this massive documentary on George Romero's Resident Evil. And this is going to take a while to do it, but I definitely want to have you, since you were a fly on the wall, to at least talk to you about it and make this like a Horror Syndicate exclusive about George Romero's Resident Evil. Because even though you were a fly on the wall during the commercial, I'm sure you got the gist of what he was trying to aim for. No, not at all.
Oh, nothing. It was literally. It seemed like it was a job. And the Japanese investors knew George Romero's name. If you attach it, it is a good business move. But all I knew was for a video game. I didn't know anything about it. Josh Logan, at the time, knew about video games. Silent Hill was the one he played.
Oh yeah.
He actually bent his soul. He said. It messed with him on levels he'd never experienced. So this was just a job. It was just a job, and
Doggy.
It was yes, Doggy. That's Basil. So it was. I wasn't really. I was just like, hey, we're making zombies for George Romero. I didn't know anything about the lore behind Resident Evil, Biohazard, anything. So I actually mentioned in one of Lex's Facebook posts, I wish I kept my raccoon police department badge that I wore. I'm like, fuck.
It's
you'd be able to fund Jack Frost 3 off the eBay sale that right now because of the remake coming out.
I have learned better. I keep all my props. Like I kept everything from Lunch Ladies because I knew this was gonna hit. Like everything, like the little intercom that they use, I've got it. It's gonna be in the movie. Body parts gonna be in the movie. The T-Rex, I assume you have that, Clarissa?
I have the top half.
Okay, it's gonna be in the movie.
The bottom half, like it was so trashed by the time we were done. It was like
it fell apart. Yeah. All that stuff.
I kept the top, and yeah, Christopher Sapp made T-Rex.
But Clarissa's leg will make a cameo appearance.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I even have
that professional AMDA leg.
Do you have the ear?
Is that the ear?
Yeah,
is that
look,
the ear?
I love it. Things. It sits in my drawer, and every time my nephew comes over, he's like, "Ew!" I'm like,
mark my words. That ear is gonna be as famous as the ear Jeff Goodwin made for Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Speaking about famous, how did you guys land Johnny Depp, or was it Johnny Deppson?
We're not allowed. Actually, legally, we're not allowed to talk about that yet.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I just.
But we're working towards the feature. So once all that is, if we.
I wasn't sure if you talked to Tim and Eric and got the impersonator.
And Tim and Eric are great. I love them. We're going to do their only.
I love Tim and Eric.
Oh yeah, I love Tim and Eric. Big fan.
I got fussy with them because they told my partner Roy, they're like, "We don't think you understand our comedy," and I'm like, "Dude,
what?
I love like Tom Goes the Mayor, and
Tom Goes the Mayor is my shit.
Holy crap! Like you guys are geniuses. Like let us do your movie for like cost." And they're like, "We don't think you get us." I'm like, "Oh, you guys are."
I don't want to hear the bad. They're like jerks. Are they jerks? Really?
That's the bad. That's the reality. I'm like,
they're from my neck of the woods. They were graduates of Philadelphia Temple.
Dude,
Really?
I grew up basically with the Defer brothers from Stranger Things, and I'm thinking, shit, why didn't you call me? We're like homeboys. It's like, come on, man. You grew up in Durham. I grew up in Durham. We're like that. Sadly,
Same town.
When money comes into play, movies become very diluted. You have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and luckily for us, like with Lunch Ladies, everyone that was involved with Lunch Ladies, if you and I said this, Mike, at the in South Carolina, I said if you take away any one of those facets, you're gonna lose. Like everyone that came to Lunch Ladies the short not only stepped up to the plate, but nailed it. Like our production designers, like every single person, except for the actual Lunch Ladies themselves.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Good story, because
I had to
take that one because that's
yeah. And it was horrible to make any money. I financed it all myself with my little money that I saved for a long time, and I was like, I'm going to make sure that since nobody's making very much money or no money at all, I'm going to make sure they have a really good meal the first day. So I arranged with this school that's like down in the hood. They're like, oh, we have these amazing women make this Spanish meal, and like had their food. It was the worst lunch the first day. Like it was so bad, and I was so humiliated and so embarrassed. I was ready to stop. I was like so upset.
The entire production was basically
I had to fire them. Josh was like, don't bring him back. I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta go fire him, and I couldn't speak Spanish. I had to get one of the PAs who's really great to go speak Spanish. And then the AD, Nick Johnson, I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I feel so bad. And he's like, hey, it's awesome. You had to fire the Lunch Ladies. The Lunch Ladies said.
So they didn't make cheesy burger bites?
No, the real lunch ladies that fed the crew, we had to fire them the first day because it was so bad.
Oh, that's terrible.
There will be, and we discussed the other day, the possibility of an actual cookbook.
Oh,
I was just about to ask you that. Like,
that would be awesome.
I love the blog posts and the website are so great with the gimmick marketing. A cookbook is like, if you did it like a Kickstarter, well, you guys are probably, budgetary wise, you're probably looking beyond the scope of crowdfunding, but if you were, a Lunch Ladies cookbook would kill. People would fucking order. I'll order 3 of them right now.
Okay, well, we talked about it a day or so ago, and I have a cookbook from the 1950s from the, I guess it's the Michigan Department of Game Conservation. I keep reading it wrong. And
it happens.
It has you know, everything from raccoon to beaver, you know, recipes, and it's really weird.
That would be great.
Very rare.
And all that kind of
stuff. And Clarissa, you don't know this, but I just ordered 800 cookbooks on DVD, beginning from the early 1800s to the 1900s, that feature the weirdest and most obscure recipes.
So weird.
I have a cookbook that you don't, my friend.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
All right.
No.
If you're gonna pull down your pants, I'm gonna be very upset.
It's about to go from PG-13 to hard R.
I'll grill it.
Thank God. Where's
I have Cooking with Pooh.
Oh,
I got you beat, my friend. Do you have Natural Harvest?
Why?
That is a semen-based cookbook.
What?
What is it?
This is a semen-based cookbook.
Why?
What is happening?
Are you kidding me?
George C. Scott is rolling over in his grave right now.
Hold on, let me find
What is
the
this?
inspirational collection of semen-based recipes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
My God!
Oh my God! Are you?
This is cum brulee.
Yay!
See, Mike Lombardo only delivers the best content, and that's why he
Mike
is on
Lombardo
our show.
wins. Mike fucking Lombardo wins, man. Yeah. Yes.
No, guys, listen. When it comes to Natural Harvest, we all win.
No.
I am emotionally erect.
I am at full erect. So,
I have
and that happened because of the Bud Light line.
At least
the amount of times I've been able to pull that book out to fuck with people in the last 5 years is tremendous. Totally worth the money.
Your
I love it.
was very strong.
Wow.
That is quite a party icebreaker right there.
It is, and that's where it comes out.
Yes.
Who would take the time to figure out all these recipes?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, reading the foreword and the afterword in that book was life changing. I don't think it takes a lot to bother me. I gagged every time I looked through that book. I gag, and it's like I can't even fathom, because the guy thanks all these individual people for trying these recipes. Like he had dinner parties. I'm like, oh fuck no.
It doesn't seem sanitary. I'm pretty sure there's laws against
about that too. And apparently, a lot of the time they say they use pigs in veterinary clinics, and I'm like, oh.
I definitely warned this would get weird. So
yeah,
I mean, don't most people like their semen raw, not cooked?
I eat cod milk, and cod milk is basically. Oh, now I'm the dick. Like.
So anyway, about film festivals. You guys have been killing it at film festival.
We're coming to a town near you.
Yeah.
Semen flan. There we go.
That's in there.
There's only one way to eat a flan, and that's the jizz on it.
That's in there. Man-made.
How you do it?
Man-made oysters are my favorite recipe in there.
Oh my God, Rocky Mountain. Oh my God, you kill it, I'll grill it. You
kill it, I'll grill it. I like that.
Bring it.
I like that.
That was I did business cards for a fake crematorium for a graphics project in high school, and that was my tagline. I got in trouble.
That's hilarious.
Kill 'em, we grill 'em.
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't go over so well.
You must have been a teacher's thorn in their sides like the entire time in school.
With my graphics teacher, still, I barely made it out of high school.
Mike,
I skipped a whole year of days, but I'm still friends with all my teachers because I was really smart. I just hated school.
Mike, did you put that on Facebook recently?
Probably.
I did a little post about that because I remember reading that. I'm like, Oh, that's fucked up, man.
I have my run-ins with the school a lot, but it's funny because I go back occasionally as a guest speaker to talk about filmmaking and stuff like the theater courses. Yeah. Unfortunately, the home ec teacher and my video production teacher are no longer there, or I would have a fucking field day.
They probably wouldn't want you to do anything in their class.
Oh, no, they hate the video production teacher. The last thing she said to me before I graduated was, "You'll never succeed in film." So when I won my first film festival award, I went back to the school and I gave her a DVD of the short film and a picture of the award, and she threw it in the trash in front of me.
Who is this horrible person? I can't.
What?
Her name is Dorman. If you watch White Doomsday, on the weed killer bottle it says "Tough One Dorman Weed." That's a reference to her because I hate her.
This was a teacher of yours?
What's that?
Yeah.
A teacher of yours?
This was a video production teacher.
Oh my God. We have to.
He was a monster.
Clarissa?
What?
You think we could like write a character of a really horrible teacher that just quick throws someone's fine?
No, this feature's done and I'm not redoing it.
I'm not adding anything right now.
No, it's already been worked for 18 months. My fucking script alone. That's what I said. I made the film. Nobody's fucking with my script.
No, just as an executive producer.
Matt, no.
It could be just a cameo. It could just be a cameo of a lady throwing something in the trash.
We could bring in Walter Hill and the rest of the guys from Alien 3.
You could find a cameo for me, Clarissa. I would fly out and be it. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yes. All right.
But so we went through Matt's backstory professionally. Let's talk to Clarissa about your wordsmithing.
My wordsmithing, I love that. That's so.
You are quite an accomplished screenwriter, it seems. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your previous work and maybe something you've got in the pot cooking, so to speak.
So to speak.
I spent all night writing that joke about the lunch tied in, so you can laugh. It's okay.
But you killed it with a Steven
cookbook. Screenwriting, and then I was like, "Fuck, I'm not an actress." Because I never liked being looked at. I did a lot of sketch comedy. I was good at sketch comedy, but I just don't like to be looked at. And so I like to create characters. And so it was a weird series of events that brought me to Twin Bridges Writing Salon. But then I just never looked back. And so I've written a bunch of stuff, but you know, it's just the most amazing experience in that class, and work the scripts really hard. I trust everybody in there so much, and my teacher so much. And so, yeah, I just love to write, and I just wanted to see something of mine. And I had some money, got some money and saved some money, and I just wanted to see it happen. So that's why I did Lunch Ladies. And then I have a few other projects. I've got Stella by Starlight, which is a sweet coming of age movie, which just option. And I've got two other horror kind of things. One's a gothic horror about Elizabeth Bathory, and one's a women thriller, Jeopardy. So I got, you know, a bunch of things in the pot, and I'm writing a comedy with my friend Shayna. I'm just always writing, and that's what I just want to do. Is like so interesting talking to Jeff Frumes from Romeo's Distress last night. He's like, "You need to direct. Why don't you direct?" And I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily write it off, but it's not something I really want to do. And it's like, it's a separate skill. Like people, I just think like writing, it took me so long to get so good at. I mean, it's still so freaking hard, but to understand how to even do it, to get good at it, then I go, oh my God, I have to learn how to direct.
Clarissa also writes all the blogs and does everything for the.
Oh no, I know. That's what it's fucking. They're fucking hysterical.
She turns these out, and they're these, you know, couple paragraphs of a reaction to a film festival or anything, and she continues to do it almost, well, to a point of like, I have no idea how. I'm a terrible writer, first of all, so I'm not going to say like, oh, I could do what she does, but I'm like, no, there's no fucking way. I suggested some funny things to her, but she is continuing to write, and she says she's not a writer. Yes, you're a fucking writer.
No, I mean, it's director. Like, I was
director.
Like, no, it's because it was interesting. Like, people get really confused. They're like, why aren't you directing this?
But directing. Like,
because to me, it's another skill. Like, I mean, I think I can act because I studied it for a long time. And I know I can write because I studied it for a long time. So I think, direction, I have to study it for a long time, you know, and like to be good at it. Like, I want to be good at it. I don't want to just go in and just stand behind the freaking camera. So like, that's why I got somebody that I knew doing as a director, you know? So, but yeah, I just love to write. fucking love it. I hope that I get a writer someday, and that's my goal. And so yeah, that's like got a few bunch of projects in the thing. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I'm doing a little short 3-minute film that's gonna be something about the lunch ladies.
Yeah,
that's gonna be coming up. I'm gonna film that in July, and
you're gonna love it, Mike.
Yeah,
I believe it. So, Clarissa, what advice would you give anyone out there who's trying to become a screenwriter or writer in general? Like, I think you've mastered this skill pretty fucking well, from what I've seen. So, I would think that you would be a pretty good authority on this.
Well, first of all, I would say that no script gets written in a vacuum. So, like, you got to surround yourself, whether it's a class or whether it's friends that know how to write. You have to surround yourself with people that want you to succeed. But will give you the download and be like, this is what's wrong. You have, and there's no shortcut. Be patient, because if it's not on this, I mean, once you film, you're fucked unless your script's right. And it just takes a long time. So don't be impatient. Like, just get it right. I don't care if it takes, I mean, Lunch Ladies took 18 months with my full-time job, and I was working on it at least 25 hours a week. And it's just rewriting and it's a skill. Like, you know, you can be a great writer and not be able to write a screenplay because it's a different skill. So, you know, and I work really hard in class, and I take the criticism and I take it back, because it only matters where you end up. It doesn't matter where you are. So swallow your pride, get your ego out of the way, find your group of people that will help you. And that's what Twin Bridges does for me, is I bring my stuff in. And I mean,
and describe Twin Bridges real quick. Like,
Twin Bridges is the screenwriting class. It's been running like 25, 30 years now. And it's like, my teacher, Joe Bratcher, is just incredible. He was also the one I told you that did the choreography for the Lunch Ladies scene, because he's a tap dancer on Broadway. And he's super supportive of artists. And he, we sit around a circle. First of all, we shoot the shit for like 10 minutes. We have like, you know, a glass of wine, or we'll have like, you know, and we'll talk about movies. Then we read the scripts. You know, people bring in 20 pages here, 10 pages there, whole script if they've been working it. And we read the scripts out loud, and then Joe gives you notes, and then the class gives you notes, and you go home and you work it, and it's really fun. And there's none of this Robert McKee bullshit or outlining bullshit. It's like fucking all character, and you learn it, and it's hard. It's super hard. I mean, I'm in there 14 years now. 14 years now, and I still bring my scripts in, and I still fucking struggle. I know now more how to do it, obviously, because I've been doing it for so long. But yeah, it's never easy. No script is ever easy. You know, so.
It's a miracle that any movie gets any movie that gets made is a miracle.
It is a miracle. It's a fucking miracle.
As any of us know, and we've all been doing this for a long time, but it's a miracle. Like, just to get the people together, the money together, trying to tell a story.
People to have your vision, be in your corner, and to like support it. Yeah.
Hundreds or even thousands of layers that go into something to tell a story on celluloid. It's so when you have the right group of people, when you have the right writers, it all comes down to the story, and that comes.
And sometimes you have everything that come out.
Yeah, writing a story.
A little bit of luck too, you know.
Like your idea, your little inspirational moment that said, "Oh, Lunch Ladies!" Like, holy crap! The fact that you brought it from that idea to total fruition, to success, is amazing. Like, that's.
But it's 25. It's 20 years of failing. So I had to succeed.
And the failing is the important part. You have to fail.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to learn how to.
You have to fail, and I firmly believe
no class can teach you that.
Yeah, you have to. And you also have to. You really have to have like good people in your life.
Yeah. It was nice. Like in South Carolina, when I was in South Carolina, everyone is so passionate, and they put so much work into stuff. And it's like, I'm finally around people who get it. Because I don't really go to a lot of film festivals, and the ones that I do go to are in Los Angeles, which sadly are a little Hollywoody, I guess would be the right term, the proper term.
We mentioned the one film festival that told Josh and I we couldn't be on the red carpet.
They're fucking terrible.
What?
Yeah, they made us pay for the tickets to the red carpet, and then we show up, like we go on it, and they're like, "Did you win anything?" We go, "You know, I don't know. Did we win anything?"
Who died?
Like, well, you would know, and so you can't be on the red carpet. And we're like, "What?"
the fuck?
You should have had Donna have like one of those little like red flyer wagons filled with all of your trophies and just walk up and say, "Excuse me."
I was so fucking mad. Like steam was coming out of my ears, and like Josh is way more mellow. He's like, and I go, "No, fuck this." Fuck. You know, they're like, "Well, you can go on the carpet." I'm like, "No, you know what? I don't want to go on your fucking carpet. Fuck off. I'm not going on your carpet." You know, I wrote a blog the next day thanking them for being so exclusive. Look from the lunch lady's point of view, of course.
Yeah.
Not from my point of view.
Is important.
That's been my experience in Hollywood. It's like,
What the fucking pretentious assholes? I'm sorry.
oh, it's so pretentious.
Really
I'm just like, you know, come on.
Well, then you have the opposite of festivals like Nightmares, or as Matt saw, Crimson Screen, and it's just everyone is so fucking nice. I mean, that's where we met. But well, Clarissa, I met you at Nightmares.
Yeah,
it's crazy because I keep telling my crew, it's like, guys, it's not always going to be like this. Like a lot of these festivals, everyone's a dick. Like you guys are so spoiled with this right now.
No. You know, I find that the horror fests in general are really awesome because horror filmmakers are super. They don't take themselves seriously, so they're not not that, you know, I'm into a lot of great fests, met a lot of great people, but in general, like the horror fest, the horror filmmakers are super supportive of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because
we're from Los Angeles, and it's a little embarrassing, and we got to make sure that we're not, you know, projecting like asshole-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Someone just farted. Like,
what?
I was like,
What?
No. Oh yeah, no, it's Brian.
It's me. I'm just fart. All this Bud Light Lime.
Oh, you have a microphone on. That's like awesome. Like,
all that Bud Light Lime.
Yeah, your microphone's blasting loud, Mike or Brian. Sorry.
Wait, is it really loud?
Now it's not.
Now it's perfect.
Like,
yeah.
I live in Los Angeles because this is where you go to make movies or blah blah blah.
Los Angeles, don't
but
talk
the reality is, it's sad. There's just like this weird black cloud, and I'm not from here. I
love Los Angeles, though. I mean, it's just that. You know, I love Los Angeles, and I have nothing bad. Yeah. But every once in a while, you go to a film fest like that, and you're like, "But I
need to come out."
We go to our grade.
Brian, you should come out.
I want to. I want to be an actor in Los Angeles, but I'm here in New Jersey working for Chemlon. But it's okay.
Well,
man, just.
Oh, yeah, but
we all did one time.
I'm gonna send nudes to every director, every casting director that is out there on the internet.
In Pennsylvania, Brian, but I'll take those pictures for casting purposes.
Yeah.
You got it.
I want you to be the lunch lady. You send me those nudes, I'm gonna like cast you as the lunch ladies. One of the lunch ladies.
Thank God.
I thought we weren't gonna rewrite anything.
Yeah, but this is different. He's gonna send nudes.
Can I play Gina Davis or Sigourney Weaver's role? Yeah. Can I play Ripley?
Yes, definitely give you a little wig, and you could do a Sigourney Weaver.
I will do the best puking scene you guys ever asked for.
Actually, we're
as Sigourney Weaver.
Stunt woman.
You find something for him. He's sending us nudes.
And there's the
I will wear a snowman outfit and have little snowman minions attack everybody.
That's actually how I casting couched Brian the first time. I made him dressing as
right.
Yeah, he did not know what was coming.
My butthole hurt for 5 days.
Put it in the cookbook.
Yeah.
I am the writer of the cookbook.
We'll call it a snowball's dance in hell.
It was one of those acting classes I took at AMDA. Prepared me for the real world.
You know, I'm gonna change my whole story. I'm definitely writing you a part in. There's got to be something. Like, there's just I have to.
Well,
thank God.
Maybe I'll make like a vice principal or something, or a history teacher, or shop teacher.
As long as I get to do a copious amounts of blow.
Wait, there is a part for you. You can play the dude that sends at the Home Depot that sells them the electric fence.
I love it. I will sell the shit out of the electric fence. I will be like the Eskimo who can sell ice to other Eskimos. Fuck it.
They're buying an electric fence for one reason.
Or candles to nuns.
to kill the kid that's always like fucking TV.
Sorry, that was Cal.
I could sell Sister Act on VHS to a bunch of nuns who own a DVD
Sister
player.
Act 2. Sister Act 2. Brian is back in the habit, as you can see.
I can't sell Sister Act 2. I draw the line.
Even with Lauryn Hill, you can't sell Sister Act 2?
Sister Act 2?
No, not with Lauryn Hill. Not with any of them. Sister Act 2 doesn't exist. It's not canon. Good day, sir.
Backstory about Sister Act 2. It's a running thing on the show. I once asked everyone what their favorite movie about Jamaican bobsledders was, and my answer was, of course, Sister Act 2. So now...
My lovely partner said, isn't there already a Sister Act 2?
Oh my God, I'm dying.
Electric Boogaloo?
But no, Clarissa, if you have like a role in the Lunch Ladies feature for like a hard-assed like ethnic character, Lex Quinn would be perfect.
For Lex.
Yeah, because she ran.
Someday it's gonna be hiding for Lex. Don't worry.
She's a
I mean, she's either gonna come in and be one of my PAs and be my bitch.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, yeah, Lex.
No, I didn't. That wasn't me. Never mind. Sorry, I was reacting to something else.
But Lex looks like she looks so young. She could play with.
I mean, it sounded like I was gonna make Lex my bitch or your bitch.
You were Clarissa's bitch.
She just woke up. She heard her name. You said it 5 times. Now she appears like Candyman.
We're talking about
it's like Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Lex.
Oh, good man.
Nice fucking model.
Wait, Clarissa, that was
What were
great.
you saying? I look young or bitch or something? I don't know.
You look like a young bitch.
Did we just wake you up?
Yeah, we'll figure out something if we get this feature made for Lex for sure.
Are you serious?
You're going into the grinder.
Oh, okay.
She looks so young. She could play one of the teenagers, is what I was saying.
Yeah. And when I say you're going into the grinder, I don't mean that app you found on my cell phone.
Mike's got some good fucking material here.
Oh my God. I deal with it every day.
But God was not invited to the podcast, so.
Sorry, by the way, I'm tired from work, so I'm kind of in and out. I apologize.
We can talk about you behind your back, don't worry.
So, Matt, what advice would you give to, now we have Clarissa's advice to people who are aspiring writers. How about aspiring effects artists?
Oh, no.
I'm not trying to lead you.
Seriously, like, give them some good advice, Matt. You gotta have a good advice.
The reality of the makeup effects business is that it's very, very, very difficult.
Don't give that kind of advice. Give positive advice. Don't be a knower.
You're gonna be great.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, no, it's important that
great.
people know
Just
that
try it.
Glamour. I mean, if you want to be down in the grime.
Know that we're talking about. Just fuck them. They don't know shit. Just go out and just make a living. It's easy, peasy.
No, not that. But you know, you don't want to be one of those people that's like, you know, that you hated when you were 16 years old and your dream was to be as a best person. You're like, you could never do it.
Being pragmatic. It's makeup effects as a living. It's not the 1980s anymore, and digital has caught up. And I absolutely love the combination of practical effects and digital effects because it helps tell the story. For any aspiring effects people, absolutely keep doing it. You're going to be doing like short films. You're going to be doing Friends films. Everyone's going to call you at Halloween.
Dead?
Yeah, and I'm like, no, Halloween. And I tell them that Halloween is your day off.
That's what I do. That's how it works.
That's what I do. Like, oh, can you make my costume? I'm like, yes, I can, but it will cost you $17,000 to make it for real. And they're like, well, I don't have that, but you're my friend. I'm like, well, kind of. I just met you at a bar. I guess nothing. I'm like, that was a dig on Clarissa. I'm like, hey, make a movie someday. Cool, we're drunk. But keep doing it because there is still a role for practical makeup effects. Absolutely. No question. People need real things, tangible things. things on set, even if it's replaced by something with anything computer generated, at least your actors are there. They can see something, and it's fun. Make things. I mean,
How did you get started, Matt?
The business is difficult, but I would never not encourage it.
There's complete silence.
Oh no!
Wait, were you saying something?
I'll go into SFX.
I completely.
I'm just basking in the knowledge.
No.
I was just running through a loop of the Jack Frost 2 in my head, like my favorite scenes. I wasn't paying
know if I'm
attention.
talking to the speaker. Like, I don't know where my speaker is. I literally.
Oh my god!
It's amazing that I just got here. Am I out? Am I not? Can you hear me?
My advice is all of it's fucking hard, and everybody's gonna tell you, "Oh, you'll never make a living." Well, you can't go into. No, I'm just saying, like, you just gotta fucking follow your bliss, man. Don't let anybody tell you no, and
Oh my god!
find people to support you.
Oh my god!
So what is the status of the Lunch Ladies feature? Has there been interest?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't had anybody write me a check yet. If that's what you're asking.
Okay, well that's always that's you believe when you see the money. But is there any headway? Is there any interested parties that have been courting you or anything? Or
not yet. I mean, it's like I feel like things are just starting though, in a really weird sort of way. Like things are just really heating up now. Like it's just been. I don't know. I mean, I'm just holding. I'm hoping that something happens, but I just keep pushing and kind of. I'm so in the I have to be so in the moment because there's so much going on with it that I just feel like the work is going to it's going to happen because I'm just trying not to go. When's it going to happen? And that's what I just try to concentrate on is just not freak. Not get because once you start going, oh my god, it's not happening or whatever, then it's just your joy of being in the moment and enjoying your ride is gone. So I hope it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world and there'll be something else. But I mean, that's why I push so hard to promote it so much and get in as many fests because I'm hoping that one person that will see the potential is going to come to me and be like, yeah, I want to make it.
now, has Lunch Ladies done anything for you? Have you gotten other offers for other things because of the success of Lunch Ladies?
No.
Well, I should not ask that.
But it's so good.
I'm freaking ever. I'm so happy. It's so joyful and so wonderful. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm having the freaking time of my life. So, and I don't know, I went through it. I think that maybe Brian can relate to this. You go through that time period in your early 20s or whatever, where you're like, oh my God, if I don't make it as an actor, I'm going to die. And you lose all your joy for what you're doing because you're not getting the success that you think that you should have. I mean, that shit. I was kind of yeah, I love doing what I'm doing. And if I have to have a 9-to-5 job, that's not what I want. But if I have to continue my 9-to-5 job, then that's what I have to do. But I don't have that sense of desperateness that I had in my 20s. Making it, so
I completely understand being an actor and someone very close to me, Joe Doyle had he's still alive, he's not dead or anything like that, but he said to me that I said to him I want to be an actor, and he says, no, you are an actor, you want to be an actor who can make a living. You want to be a actor who can make a living. So that's why I've been going through my entire life. I want to be an actor who makes a living. And I got this really cool gig coming up, and it had nothing to do with my acting. It actually had to do with my receding hair and my bald spot in the back of my head. And for that, I am wearing this little helmet that goes on my head and it's growing my hair follicles back. And because of my genetics, I have landed myself the biggest role of my lifetime.
Oh, congratulations! It's fucking
Thank you. It's $500. I'm gonna buy myself a rope.
Shave and embrace. Shave and embrace.
Now, Matt, you weigh in on the whole
Yeah.
You've been offered
Bald thing.
Lunch Lady?
In the bald thing. Yeah.
No. Bald. I don't know why you always gotta have to wear a hat. You look really good bald.
No, they said it looked like a tumor or something.
No, you look handsome.
No. The hat looked like a tumor. I thought the hat was a tumor, not your actual scalp. Scalp is lovely and satin soft.
Oh my God.
So
Hey.
I have an off Facebook question for you guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do I resemble a chunky Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
I could see it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
You have a Johnny Depp vibe.
Yeah, you definitely.
You don't see the belly because it's
I
down
wouldn't say
here.
you're chunky. You don't. Who told you you're chunky? That's not what came when I saw you. Oh, well, okay.
It's not that bad.
I don't know what the fuck to say about that.
It's not that bad. I still only weigh like 180 pounds. I'm just shorter than Johnny Depp, so it looks chunky.
Yeah. Facially, you're okay. Hey, what is the pink thing?
Have the offers been rolling in for you from Lunch Ladies? It's very exciting. So
I'll call you later.
Yeah. Keep asking
I'll let you know off camera.
people keep asking the same thing about Doomsday because we won some awards and everyone's like, oh man, that must be like things are blowing up, and I'm like, yeah, I go back to the pizza shop and then I go to like a thing like Nightmares of Crimson Screen and I'm like a fucking rock star and all these people respect me and treat me like an equal, and then I go back to making cheesesteaks for fat rednecks. And it's
I was having this same conversation with these great guys that I met at Dead Center. I was like, it's so weird. You go to Film Fest and it's like you're in this weird thing where you feel like you're like, oh yeah, I make a living at this. I do this. It's my life. And then it's like this harsh reality after you get done with the Film Fest. You're like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Back to real life.
Lex, you posted a picture, Lex, a couple days ago. Someone like dumped a bunch of like DVDs or something.
Oh yeah, the shelf just fell and all the DVDs.
But I was having a good time, and now I'm back to the reality.
Back to reality.
Fuck.
I hear you.
I tell you the dichotomy. Like he used to talk. Oh, sorry. He used to talk a lot about how like one of his tattoos is about like him going to film festivals and being.
Show us our tattoo. Show us your tattoo, by the way.
Mine or his.
Yours.
Oh, mine.
Yours, Lex. You're fresh.
New one.
Are you kidding? This is a webcam. They don't want to see me.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say you don't want to see all my
That's pretty
tattoos.
cool. Good focus on that. That's a pretty cool tattoo. What'd that cost you? $1,000?
No, 300.
Really?
Not
Holy
done.
shit.
It's not
More
done.
sessions. But she sat like a champ 5 hours.
Dude,
Damn, that's a long sitting.
it is a long fitting.
I want a tattoo. I want a tattoo of Mike Lombardo's name across my my back.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you get that tattoo, then I'll give you some side eye and then tell people about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I also want to be involved in that cookbook.
Well, dreams do come true, Brian.
I need it.
We should. You know what I should do? Because like when I came up with the idea of the hairnet club. Like I want to do the hairnet club, right? I just have to have people start sending in pictures and fan art, and I have like a really fucked up hairnet picture, and it's really funny. I don't know if you saw. Did you see? I have a sticker here of it, but anyway, it's really funny. But I should do once I get some time and I do a cookbook. I think that I should get recipes from everybody,
Ooh.
like all the horror people that I know.
I will send you some nice Jewish recipes because I don't think my people know how to really cook that well, so it's a win-win for me.
Don't be dogging on the Jews, man. I got the freaking matzo ball soup,
I have a matzo ball soup package as well. You mix it with some egg and you roll it in the ball and you put it in the freezer.
That's my
favorite.
Does it have semen in it?
No.
It can. It definitely can.
Does it have an element?
Would you like a shot of bar mitzvah, Brian?
These aren't gonna have any of that kind, but that would be fun to have like a cooking contest, and then have everybody.
No.
Brian, you can make knish.
I will make you a personal dish of knish with my dish. I don't know. It makes no sense.
Clarissa, I'll give you a recipe for Legs Benedict. It's a family recipe.
Oh
Make sure it's called the Amda Legs Benedict.
Legs Benedict.
Yeah, but you have to. So my boss, he's living with his mother-in-law, is elderly and has dementia. She's living with them right now, and it's causing a lot of problems. And he was saying, why don't we just take one of your movies, Mike? We can just, we can just cook her instead of having a funeral. And I said, well, we could serve at the pizza shop. We can say it's an old family recipe.
No.
And he looked at me and exploded laughing. So I'm like, fuck, I probably shouldn't have said that. And then he just died laughing. I'm like, okay, cool.
Mike Lombardo, you bend my soul.
Yeah. Legs Benedict. That's so hilarious.
That's
the AMDA legs Benedict. Make sure you mention AMDA because you can't have AMDA legs without mentioning AMDA.
Should the cookbook be like fucked up recipes, or should the cookbook be really good recipes?
Really
There
good.
should be a mix. Like, or an
Really good recipes that you can't afford nurses.
Have you seen
you do regular recipes and then have like they always have like or for the low fat option substitute like or for the cannibalistic option.
Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah, I could do that.
Have you seen 50 Shades of Chicken?
No.
I swear to God, it's fucking hilarious.
I was gonna say, as being a restaurant employee for 16 years, I'll tell you if your chicken is different shades, that means you're probably gonna get horrible food poisoning from it.
No. What's funny is that it's all about trussing a chicken and tying it up.
Oh, I got you. I'm involved in a lot of chicken bondage at work.
Right?
I'm quite a breast man myself.
No.
So. Yes, Lex is actually good.
Lex does not like this idea.
I handle breasts and thighs all day.
No.
That's too easy. Too easy. I knew it. You don't get the laugh on that. Too easy.
What?
But
every day. Every day.
I mean, I have cooking with Pooh.
Ew.
Winnie the Pooh.
Like Winnie the Pooh or Pooh Pooh?
Yeah, but it's called Cooking with Pooh, and I think it's funny.
No, there's a woman who came into the pizza shop that has Vincent Price's cookbook.
Oh,
and like it's a totally legit cookbook. And he's like a gourmet chef. And I thought that was the coolest thing.
That is cool. I would like to have the Vincent Price cookbook.
Yeah, and apparently it's pretty good.
Really?
I'm sure it's somewhere. I don't know if it's expensive. It might just be a collectible now, but that would be really interesting. It's all like normal recipes.
That's a really cool
totally collectible.
All right, so we're at the end of the show. As we sign off, we're gonna shamelessly plug ourselves away. Perfect. All right, so but first of all, I'm gonna go first. My name is Brian Enright. You follow me here on Brian Enright on the Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram at the Horror Jew. So
Horror Jew, JW?
Yeah, the Horror Jew. I'm certified fresh and bar mitzvah.
I love it. That's perfect.
And brisses. So.
Yep, he actually has a great recipe for a kosher bris.
It's like
right.
Maria, but
let me tell you,
right.
it's for a tip sandwich.
Horror Jew.
Stop it!
No,
up next, Jared Laterno. Jared, where can we find you, dude?
You can follow me on Facebook at Jared Laterno or on Twitter at zombie_survivor. Thanks to Clarissa and Matt for joining us and the illustrious Lex Quinn for her surprise appearance. Always a treasure having you.
Not in a towel this time.
No.
Not in a towel this time.
That was an option?
Zombie_what?
Did I sign in the wrong?
Lex Quinn usually cameos in a towel.
Is there a later
shower?
We usually see her like breeze by. It's like 1 second.
We need the ratings.
I'm the Japanese ghost. I just go by the camera really fast.
Damn ectoplasm all over the place.
No.
All right, thank you very much, Jared. Mike, where can we find you?
You can find me at www.realsplatter.com and lately wherever the fuck Lunch Ladies is playing because we've been kind of parallel journeying, thankfully.
I know. It's so awesome. I love it.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. And of course, our special guests of the evening that were brought to you by Mr. Mike Lombardo himself. We have Clarissa Jacobson. Clarissa, please promote yourself shamelessly. Okay. Now is the time.
Go to lunchladiesmovie.com and please join my hairnet club. That would make me really happy. I'll even set you a free hairnet, a free Lunch Ladies hairnet, not to be beat. So there, and then my Instagram is at Lunch Ladies Movie, Twitter at Lunch Ladies Film because you have less letters. Facebook at Lunch Ladies Movie, Pinterest at Lunch Ladies Movie. I have all the social media. And
where is Lunch Ladies screening next? Is there a festival coming?
Well, tomorrow is Trauma Detroit. And Fantastic Fest. We're going to be in Rhode Island. We're going to be in Palm Springs next week. We're going to be in Horror Fest Hollywood. That's going to be
Brian's
fun.
does go
A
nuts.
bunch of places. There's an announcements page which has all the film fests we're going to be at, and I'm just adding them away, and I just love it. Having the time of my life. Thanks for having us on. It's awesome.
Thank you for being here. And Brian's taking care of his dog that's barking. So, Matt, can you tell us where you can shamelessly plug yourself?
You can find me in the bushes, 20 feet to the right, in about 45 minutes, because I drank too much bourbon. No, you can look at my name. That's Matt Falletta. Just Facebook me. We don't really do Soda Effects doesn't really do any. Well, that's a different story. Yeah, we should have an online presence, but we don't. But Lunch Ladies on Facebook, absolutely follow Lunch Ladies. Check out the website to find out where we're playing next, and that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Excellent. And just real quick, guys, stick around after the show. We have to debrief you for legal reasons.
Yes.
Fair enough.
We don't sue you.
By the way,
Yes.
Or steal your recipe.
Met you.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
thank you very much, everyone on Facebook land, for watching. And please, if you hear about Lunch Ladies showing up at the film festival close to you, go fucking see it. Stop being a dick.
Absolutely. Lunch Ladies is fucking hilarious. You will die laughing.
Yes.
And be
Showing
hungry.
at a convention near you.
Thanks.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Brian.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Good
All
night.
right. It is over. Now you guys can talk with